Welcome back to the Pulse on the Joy News channel on Multi TV. Now, Ghana has begun a new phase in the oil sector. It's the commercial production of crude oil from our second biggest explored field called Trinidad and Yera Ntumi. After months of expectations, today the president turned on the valve for commercial production to officially begin. But the smile on his face was even much more profound when he learned that most of the work done on the floating vessel, which would be used for the drilling of the crude from the field, was by Ghanaians. In his first comments after rolling back the plaque, President Mahama said he is confident this will help Ghana benefit more from our natural resource and get good revenue from the oil proceeds.
And so I want to thank all the partners who worked on this project, and then also to note specifically that local content in these projects continue to increase compared to Jubilee, which was a very fast. And so I want to thank all the partners who worked on this project, and then also to note specifically that local content in these projects continue to increase compared to Jubilee, which was a very fast.
Well, the 10 fields is being explored mainly by Ghana as the lead operator, with other partners like Petro SA and Adaku Cosmos and the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation GNPC also holding the minority area equity. Let's bring you some more of what happened at the commissioning today, which was felt on the coast of Cape 3 Points as well as in the oil city Takoradi. My colleague George Afi will join me sometime later to continue more on this. But as you can imagine, the expectations have been with a lot of partying, especially in the oil city Takoradi. In fact, the chiefs and people have been meeting the president to understand what this means for their own local fortunes. Kweku Osupepra joins me on the line with more on this. Kweku, good afternoon. We know that a lot has happened in this regard. Okay, we'll speak to Kweku in just a moment. But he has been interacting with some of the residents in Takoradi about what this new chapter for our oil find and exploration means for them.
It is good news because we could be noticed globally for oil production, and then it could also contribute to the GDP of the nation. I think we could make exploits with this because inviting investors into the country could also add up to our development as a nation. It depends on the governance as and when it's being exploited, you understand? So yeah, we just hope for the best.
For me, for instance, I think it's not doing anything best to it, because they said you have oil, and I don't see whereby as a country we have oil and what we get is 15%. Yeah, and that percentage that we get is not anything much that I think it will help the country. So for instance, the oil that they say we have now, I'm not much more interested of we having the oil.
It's a good news. As we've discovered oil at the western region, it's a good news. It's going to help for the economy to grow. But here in Ghana, you know what the leaders do. They will get it and they share it among themselves. They won't do any development in the country just for the economic to grow. We've discovered oil although, but we are still suffering.
Personally, I think the Ghana's discovery of oil is good, but it would take good policies to be implemented for us to get the benefit, or for the people to feel a beneficial impact on Ghanaians. It only takes good policies, trust me, because there is the oil. It's a good resource, but if we don't exploit it well, if we don't put in good policies to put certain structures in place, we can't go anywhere with it. We already have gold, but we are still crying that, oh, we don't have, the economy is suffering and all. So this oil is also a good resource, but if you don't put good policies in place, we can't go any far with it.
Well, this is actually the reaction from Accra. People's views on the 10 fields oil exploration and what it means for the country. Well, in Takoradi, Kweku Osupepra, my colleague, has been speaking to residents about what they also think about this, considering that their proximity to the oil fields makes them think that they can get a bit more from it.
Oil production from the 10 fields starts today. It's the second biggest oil find in the country so far. And as production starts, residents of Takoradi have been wondering if this will have an impact in their lives. Joining me here today are two residents of Takoradi to find out more about what they think the impact will be. What do you think about that?
Yeah, from what I've observed over the past 5 years, it has really increased the cost of rental housing. There are situations that people have to lose their supplements or they can't afford rent because the local was money in the system. So they have to post that. Because if you go to the hinterland where you have large part of land are being acquired by oil companies for their warehouse. So in this case, people will get that it's definitely affecting the output of the
We've seen some improvement in the road within the Takoradi metropolis. We've seen some oil and gas equipment being done. Now, some of the people here have gotten jobs. For you, what is most critical in measuring the impact of oil and gas?
The most critical part is the
Right, so those are some views from Takoradi and residents and their views on what this new chapter in terms of our oil resource and its exploration will mean for the country and also for them in that part of the western region. Now, this work didn't just start today. Before the commercial production began today, some work has gone into it for the past 3 years. Here's a quick video detailing the journey so far. That's how it started up until this minute now that the president has gone on to open the valve for commercial production of the crude to begin. Well, joining us on the line to do some analysis on the lessons we've learned from the Jubilee fields and what we can do to maximize the resource with the 10 fields is a senior oceanographer who lectures at the University of Ghana, Dr. Francis Nunu. Thank you, sir, for your time. I guess we need to start from the bit about the environmental issues, and I'm sure that's what you can speak to. When it comes to oil production, one of the things that comes up is the environment impact assessment that ought to be done to ensure that not only are we getting the resource, but we're also getting the environment not compromising all of this. With the work that's been done with the 10 oil fields and the works that were done with Jubilee, have we improved and learnt our lessons in the past?
Yes, the EIA that was done brought out certain things that need to be done. And I think that it has to do with following through on all the mitigation measures that have to be put in place to save the environment, which includes the human beings in the area and for Ghana. I think that there's just a little bit of follow-up that needs to be done. And one of the lessons is about the FPSO. Initially, when it came up, it was a single-house FPSO, and environmentalists and concerned environmentalists spoke about the fact that it might give us problems. That's the Jubilee one. And later we heard that it was giving us problems as a country. So that is one lesson that we've learned out of it. The other is there were a few times that we heard of villages from the oil production, and measures were taken. So we have to follow through and make sure that when measures are put in place as part of environmental management, they are followed through. So this, and then as well the issue about fishermen trying to go to the exclusive zone to go and fish, exclusive zone for the oil production to go and fish. And we are having conflict, because people are not understanding. I think that the fishermen need to be managed a bit more to understand. So both stakeholders, the oil companies and then the fishermen, need to be further managed. There's need for more education so that they can coexist. The oil industry and the fishing industry can also coexist.
Okay.
The rest is left with studies, further studies to see the impact, to manage the rest of the impact.
Now, you mentioned that especially for those who rely heavily on aquatic life, and by that I mean the fish in these waters, they should be managed. How should that be done? Because we've seen examples from Jubilee where fishermen were always complaining, especially in the western region, about low yields and the lighting around the FPSO Kwame Nkrumah.
Yeah, the lighting around the FPSO rather attracts fish. Fishes are attracted to the light. So there's quite a lot of concentration of fish around the FPSO. And fishermen naturally follow fish. So they would like to go for it. And now they are being told they can't go towards a certain distance. It's good for their own health, their own life, it's simple. But they should have been consistently educated so that as it's done in other countries, Norway and other countries, both industries are coexisting very peacefully and nicely. And we need to do that. So the liaison officers that were set up in the various districts between the oil companies and the fishing stakeholders, chief fishermen, etc., need to work better at educating and talking to people and teaching them about the importance of both industries for the country so that they can coexist and fishermen to stay away. And then these fishes that accumulate near the FPSO will become a de facto marine reserve. They eventually, when they give birth, they grow, they will eventually repopulate the rest of the water. So in the end, it still goes to the benefit of the country. So there's the need for coexistence. Essentially, that is it. For each industry to tolerate each other.
One other thing you mentioned in the works that you've done in the past is the issue to do with the kind of FPSO that was used for Jubilee and the lessons we've learned with the new one for the 10 fields. But beyond the structural detail of the FPSO, what else should we be considering so that we don't see the mistakes in Jubilee repeat itself with this one?
What we need to do is to actually, there should be a custom-built, designed FPSO for future whatever. And I think they've done that for the 10-1. So the lesson from the Jubilee has helped the 10-1. In the 10-1, there's a custom-made FPSO which is double-hulled, etc., and it's suited for the purpose. So I think that that's the main lesson that has helped the 10. So with the 10-1, we're going to, those problems will not come in. At least we expect that all things being equal, those problems will not come in.
All right, Mr. Nunu, thank you for your time. Dr. Francis Nunu is
this is Professor Francis Nunu.
Yes, Professor. Okay. Sorry, Professor Francis Nunu is a senior oceanographer at the Oceanography Department at the University of Ghana. Well, still ahead here on the show, we'll find out how to raise world-class talent to improve the country's chances at the Olympics. The boxing legend Azuma Nelson will be joining us. Stay with us.
Netherlands was too hard to handle, setting the fastest